Hey, CoupleyFit fam, welcome back to another episode. Today we are talking about money, how it can impact you. It can be positive, negative, but it can also stress you out.
And speaking of stress, we just saw some statistics that were around stress is more impactful on the body than whether you drink or work out or smoke. Any of those things, it's really like how much stress could really impact how long you live. So,
Yes.
how much money plays a big part in that, though, for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Stress, you're talking high blood pressure, hypertension, chronic inflammation, which chronic inflammation now is linked to Alzheimer's and dementia. So we need to get our stress down, especially when we start talking about money and money as a couple as well. So let's jump into it. So first we want to see, do we see money differently? And if we do, how can we get on the same page? So, and maybe we'll ask a little bit each other and then have the audience they can weigh it at home, right? So money habits and how they're formed. When it came to your family history and your upbringing, what were some of the money habits that you were either taught or that you learned from your parents?
It was definitely about more so on the saving money side of things, for sure. I know my dad is pretty frugal, so I know that was one. It was just like, you pull up and go out to eat. It's dollar menu only, period. Like, there was time, I had a friend, I'll never forget, I had a friend.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. I had a friend in the car, like after a game or sporting event, and they thought we were going to just, order through the drive-thru and order number 6. And I looked appalled, like, number 6? For here?
For here?
He's like, man, you better get that.
Don't you dare.
Double cheeseburger.
Don't you dare.
Save that money.
Come on.
So
they did put a quarter pounder on the McDonald's menu for $1. So, oh my gosh.
This is back when the dollar menu was really $1.
Really $1.
Come on, you can get a 2 for $2 English muffin, and it was like you didn't even go up to the menu and like think, what am I having?
No.
I'm getting one of those 2 English muffins.
Absolutely.
No brainer. So that mindset, I would say, like even now to this day, like little things on saving, I've had to evolve the mindset to even more of an abundant mindset because for so long, I was flying standby and different things where it was just like, yeah, you save money, and the idea of standby is great until you get taken off an airplane. Sir?
Grab your bag.
Sir?
Get up off
what
the
do they
plane.
say? We've got a revenue passenger with more priority. Can you come with me? I'm like, what?
Dang.
You're not in trouble. You're just not on this flight.
Right. Do you think that you came from a scarcity or an abundance type of mindset? And was it also different with either your mom or your dad?
Yes, I think it was definitely a little bit different with both. I think on one end there was a difference because it was an abundant mindset on like where you're headed, like you're a leader, you're the head and not the tail. So there was very much a focus on that when it comes to like a leadership mindset.
Sure.
But it was also a bit of a scarcity mindset when it came to more so saving money. Like it's not just what you make, it's what you keep. Mm-hmm. So like even as a kid, and a part of the reason I'm so into sneakers was like I got that one pair of shoes like every year, like on a birthday or Christmas, and that became the basketball shoes. Your old basketball shoes become your kick-around shoes. But it wasn't new Jordans come out on Saturday, we're grabbing the new ones, even if we have the money. Because I'm looking around like, dang, I know y'all got it.
or you think.
Or do you? I think.
Or you think.
I think y'all got it.
These
Jordans ain't that expensive. Yeah. But then I'm looking, I'm like, man,
what? Yes, they are.
Well,
how dare you? See, that's the problem.
These were kids.
That's the problem, y'all. That's what we talking about.
I took y'all back to the kid mindset.
They're not that expensive. They're $250.
Back then, they were probably $120.
Yeah, you're right. We're talking inflation now.
Inflation. So, you think about it like that. But also, as far as the examples that you're seeing, I know being in Arizona is a lot different than being in Detroit and being in... Right,
when it comes to fashion.
When it comes to fashion, the vibe, like it's a whole thing. I'm sure it's like New York. Like in New York, you see people's fashion and it's
100%.
Like... No.
Crispy Timbs.
It's a show out.
It's a show out.
Period. Like if you don't have on
you don't have the latest puff coat. What are we talking?
If you're going to the first day of school, you don't have on some new Air Force Ones. Where are you going? But it's like that's so materialistic. So it does end up being a shift in mindset. So I'm appreciative that I had the different perspective growing up, and it was definitely more about saving because that stuck with me. So that's a great. What about you though? Like, what would you say is your mindset as far as growing up?
Well, so that's why I asked you if when it came to your mom and your dad, if they had the same or different mindsets when it comes to money. So my parents had different mindsets when it comes to money. So my mom very much, her grandmother was an immigrant from Ukraine. And so she very much was about save, 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 save. She didn't speak much English, but we found her checkbook after my grandmother passed 2 years ago. And, the old school savings book where you have to write in, how much you're saving. And she was able to accumulate a significant amount of money for being in the 1960s, 70s.
Come on now.
And so that was passed down to my grandmother on my mom's side, where when she purchased her home in the Bronx, my great-grandmother told her, make sure that you rent out the bottom half of your home so that you can get some income. So there were those type of things where on my mom's side, very much a saver, right? Baby boomer. It's about, you stay in your job for that 30, 40 years and then you retire and you have enough money to be able to live comfortably. But my dad's side was a little bit more scarcity, in the sense it was scarcity at abundance, because it was scarcity where we're only spending money on certain things.
Oh. What type of things?
It depended on his mood a lot of times. Sometimes, we would maybe go out to eat once or twice a month, if that. So that's why cooking from home is very casual and easy for me.
I need 3 squares a day.
I know you need 3 squares a day. There's that piece, but then he would also have an abundance mindset, more so in the sense of, if I'm going to purchase something that is, it's for the family. So I'm going to purchase this TV, this surround sound, this new car, these new things. And it's kind of like, well, did you consult with mama first to make sure that we can afford this and do this? Sometimes he was kind of jumping out there, making decisions. And it was not necessarily
a group. It was a collective call.
Yeah, it was not a collective type of conversation that was being had. He just pops up with something new that is, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. It's like, whoa. It's abundance. It's coming here. Yeah. So that was a little bit different there. So that's why I think it's really important, especially as our listeners hear us, to talk about there are different ways that your parents and your upbringing can affect you and can really have a true tell on what you're going to do in your relationship as you move forward. Because a lot of this is learned, right? And then there's even things we're unlearning now, currently.
For sure. To your point, just to acknowledge even what you said there, I think about something on the health side, but family, that was learned behavior. And this may be a little bit more on the scarcity when it comes to food scarcity. Mm-hmm. I vividly remember being a kid and not being able to get up from the table until I clean my plate. Like, you're at the table until the plate is clean.
Sure.
So what you have here, and so that was something that stuck with me, but it wasn't always good because you start going out.
The Midwest. Clean your plate.
Portions are big, overeating. Mm-hmm. So now when you think about it, it's like you should actually, they talk about blue zones, for example, people living past 100 years old, they're stopping eating when they're 80% full because they're not overeating, so you're not stuffed.
Correct. You want to be satisfied.
Satisfied. That was a complete opposite of what I learned. You better get it while it's hot, get it while it's 100%. Here, and you don't know if there's no maybe being able to circle back to that meal or, that type of thing. So I think sometimes scarcity, but knowing family coming from, one side of my family coming from Como and being in Mississippi and some of those things, it's like, okay, you understand the scarcity and, having my grandfather being like, I remember the experiences of, sharecropping and being in the fields, things like that. It shifts flipping a quarter, losing a quarter. I was supposed to feed him and his brothers and sisters.
Yes.
I was like, Granddad, 1 quarter?
Granddad, 1 quarter. Oh. And everyone said that was the only time we ever got mad at him.
Only time.
The only time.
He lost that quarter.
She said,
in a puddle.
Your great aunt said, talking about, she said, I already knew which cookies I was going to get. She was already plotting. She was
for
already
a nickel. 10 cookies.
Come on now. So then we're also talking about, right, do you have a partner who's a spender and a saver? I feel like we do hear a lot about that. Although I do feel women get more of a bad rep when it comes to that, because you're seeing, right, the Amazon packages that are stacking up. There's doormats that say, hide my Amazon packages from my husband, right? Yeah. Those, I do feel like women get more of a bad rep there, but it's not just women, obviously, as we know. It depends on what you're spending on. And what you're saving for.
You're absolutely right. And also the stats around how women are also mainly the shoppers in most households. I think it's 60 or 70% where they're doing the shopping for the groceries. They're probably doing the shopping for the kids and things like that as well. So naturally, if you're doing the shopping.
I'm already spending.
you're already spending. So now it's on me because I saw that the kids needed new backpacks or whatever. It's like, are you buying something else? And it's like, well, no, they actually needed that. Whereas I think a lot of times when we're here and we saw, I think it was some interviews that you shared with me where a husband basically had like $100,000 in gambling debt.
Yes.
Wife didn't even know about it.
I know.
Just backdoor little, like
I know.
he's gambling, but that's something that you wouldn't see from like, oh, you're shopping. That's a major area that, you know, is a struggle for the family, right? For somebody's family, if there's gambling or things like that are happening and it's less visible, like Amazon or Walmart or shopping or groceries or whatever the case may be.
Yes, I do feel like that's a major shift now that we're seeing in 2025. Now that online gambling has been nationwide, we're just talking right here in the United States, but that it's so accessible on your phone. And then the ads that we're seeing on TV that are saying, put in 5, we'll give you 500. I mean, to me, right? If you're looking at that and you're not somebody who has, some self-control, you might look and say, oh my gosh, 5 for 500. It's a no-brainer. It's giving parlay.
No-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
I can only win. There's only upside.
There's only upside from this, right? So then do you feel like when it comes to finances, it can expose maybe some control
absolutely.
Dynamics
in a relationship? So that's something that I even think about when it comes to the family side, right? And I even think about the upbringing. There was, even as a kid, I learned that pretty early. Oh, if dad said no, I'm maybe go try to ask mom. Right? Like
you did that. I didn't do that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't do that.
Got to try my hand, Got to try my hand, plant the seed. I want to go to the movies. You think I can? No.
It's like that.
You need to stay in. Hey, mom, I think I want to go to. Oh, really? What you going to see? Well, I just need a couple of dollars first,
Oh my
that type
gosh.
of vibe. So I say that to say the same way that you can know who to go to, like to ask some things like that, you understand the dynamics. But then, like to your point, when it comes to that, like the finances and some of the challenges, it can become so real when there's not that visibility and transparency into the finances. Because a lot of times, one person is spending, sometimes people don't know the amount of people that talk about having separate accounts. And that is completely normal. We went out with a couple and they outright was talking about like, who's like basically, you use your money.
Do you got money? It? That was one of my questions.
I said, do you got it or do we got it? I'm confused.
Yeah. No. And it's interesting too, because a part of the reason that we are doing almost a part 2 to an episode that we filmed prior where we were talking about finances, but specifically talking about what are the financial dynamics in your relationship. Do you believe in 50-50 on the bills? Do you feel like when it comes to date night, one partner should be paying over the other? And we were really shocked actually by how many people on social media, which follow us at CoupleyFit, CoupleyFit on social media, were saying, oh no, separate accounts. I take care of the larger bills. She takes care of the smaller bills, or she just uses her money for her nails or fun things and gifts. And we were shocked. I wasn't necessarily expecting that. I'm always a believer in whatever works for you, do that, but are we being transparent? And there's a difference between being honest with your finances and being transparent. You can be honest and say, hey, the mortgage has gone up. Okay, that's honest. But then transparency is saying, no, the mortgage has gone up by this amount and our insurance has gone up by this amount. This is how much we're bringing in. We need to
cut back in
these areas, or you're going to now have to use your money.
We may have to go from getting our nails done to press-ons.
You better quit.
Better go to Walmart, grab you some press-ons.
What? For $15?
So it's just
Dallas.
But to your point, when you said that, just that element, there's so many times I feel like where not only is it not either being discussed or being talked about, but there's this massive disconnect between where we're headed and that power dynamic and shift as well, right? So, because we've seen it. I feel like when you're a kid, and I think the perfect example is when you're a kid and you have to go to your parents for money. They have control over whether you can go or not, whether they give you the money or not, those types of things. But once you get either to college or you have your own money or your own job, you don't have to go to your parents and ask, hey, can we do this? Hey, I have this idea or this thing that I want to buy. So a lot of times that carries over into a relationship. if you are the person in the relationship that maybe not the breadwinner, are you having to ask, hey, I want to go do this, versus your partner that may be the breadwinner, like, no, I'm just going to go do this because they feel like they got it.
I got it, you don't.
I'm just saying. And you see that a lot, because you'll see when that dynamic shifts, i.e. a situation where we see it in relationships or situations where even professional athletes, LeBron James is on the back 90. He's getting closer to retirement now. You're going to see a shift where it's like he's got to integrate into his wife's home routine and
power shift.
It's a power shift, because now it's no longer like you're the prime time. It's now there's a shift.
Correct.
And how do you handle those dynamics? Because it happens big time.
Yeah, it happens all the time, especially, right, somebody gets a promotion and now you were potentially the partner that was not making more than your spouse, and now you go to making more than your spouse. How do you also handle that power shift, right? Are you coming in and saying, trying to punk somebody, trying to I'll give you an allowance, right? Those type of dynamics, and really try to throw it into your partner's face.
You ain't got it.
You're broke. Like, we've seen it and we've heard it. We've seen it and we've heard it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so do you feel like if one partner earns more that you should still split the bills 50-50?
I don't think the bill should be split 50-50. I think it should be 100-100 based on what each person has to bring to the table. So it's going into one pot.
Okay.
We're collective. We are literally a unit. So we're making decisions on family, what the plans are. And even if you are the person that may be the breadwinner bringing the most money to the table, doesn't mean you should be the person in charge of the finances.
100%.
Because sometimes
100%.
You see it all the time. Somebody might be like, even for me, I think about the grind of like, man, I'm going to go out and get it, like the focus. But I don't want to manage the spreadsheets and the Excel breakdowns. Like, I don't want to have to.
And I like it.
You do. So it's like, it's so collaborative, because sometimes people feel like, no, I've got to be like, no, I'm the man.
I'm the man.
I'm the man.
That's right.
I got to be the one in charge of this.
in charge of the finances. When
it goes through me.
Correct.
But we're having a conversation. It's not like, oh, you're running the spreadsheet and you're running all the decisions. Everything is collaborative, just like co-GMs, right? Or co-owners of a team. But I don't think it's
one pot that you were, for example, you're paying your players out of, right?
Correct.
This you're paying your bills out of.
Correct.
So it's
Literally.
one pot, though.
And if we're making decisions to
renovate, and this is our cap. And talking about
this is
the cap. We cannot go $1 over this. And really, what I would love people to start realizing about finances is you don't want to always be at the cap. You want to be underneath that as much as possible, because that's where you're going to start being able to have the money to then invest. And now that's something that we're getting more into, is investing and investing into the stock market. We're in crypto. We're in a few other areas where we're starting to now understand the importance of compounding interest, the importance of when you have a certain amount of money and you're able to reach that then you can start seeing the compounding, whether it's interest or just money that you're able to accrue when you're able to invest into the right areas. And that's something that, I don't know if it's talked about enough, especially with couples, of what it looks like as a couple to be able to invest into your future. And sometimes that's just investing into your down payment for your house. That's investing into, okay, we need to have an emergency fund just in case something happens to, the car, to the kids, right? As we know, emergency things pop up all the time. And do you have the money for it? And there was a stat that said most Americans are not able to cover a $400 expense, unexpected expense. Let me rephrase that. And we can see that, right? But not
only can we see it, we've been there. We've seen it in the mirror.
Oh, we've been there.
I'll never forget a time. Again, I'm glad that this was in the past, right? This was in the past, but having a tire blowout and you're like, man, I don't have the cash on me to grab a new tire. Gotta grab a card to grab the tires.
$800 for those tires.
And you're like, oof, this was unexpected. Like, man, the timing.
Oh my
gosh. You got
gosh.
different irons in the fire. So there's like, we understand
and
that struggle.
And you're balancing, okay, you need a car. We have to get from point A to point B.
We understand that struggle. And there's so many times that people don't talk about those struggles and those decisions. And it's okay to stay down for the come up. It's okay to stay. And what is that? Just from a financial and a relational perspective, let's give a couple of examples, and I'll give one. I'd love to hear one from you of what staying down for the come up looks like. Staying down for the come up can look like not being able to go to every birthday party, every function,
that's
every
right.
event, because you might not have the gas or the
Correct.
money, or you just got to save and be like, y'all, I'm going to catch y'all next year.
Yeah.
And sometimes friends, people may not, man, why don't y'all come hang out? Literally, we're in grind mode right now. Like, or we're literally investing. Maybe it's not buying the brand new iPhone and buying Apple stock.
Right.
Like, for real.
No,
like,
you're
that
right.
might be what it looks like.
Absolutely.
Of like, hey, I got the iPhone 13 or 15, but I'm not going to buy the newest one. I'm not taking that many pictures anyway with the third camera, but I'm going to invest in the Apple stock because now that can pay off more dividends for the family later.
Yes. I love what you said, because also what you're hearing too is it's a reframing of perspective.
Yes.
But then something else I want to add to that is, are you able to not be easily influenced to purchase something just because it's a trend or a fad?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of now too, is you see one influencer, right? They might post something on TikTok, it goes viral, it sells out because all these people are running to it. But at the end of the day, could we be using that money in other areas to further our shared goals as a couple? And then are you also able to delay your gratification?
Yeah.
So often we are looking for that instant gratification. Right now, I have to have this. I know for me, sometimes that is on the home organization. I go crazy for it. I love it. I'd love to be able to have the entire house organized, but it's expensive. Yeah. And so buying things piece by piece, buying some things when it's out of season, right? We're heading into fall, winter, but this may be summer, right? Even on the clothes side, those type of things where you're able to say, okay, I don't need to get this right now. Let me maybe wait till it goes on sale, or do I actually need this right now? And being able to delay your gratification is something that we need to do more of, especially in this day and age, because number one, the stats are telling us that really people don't have the money. We cannot keep putting things on credit cards where you're accruing interest, because the interest is where you start drowning. You will drown in the interest. So if you're, and then what was the stat that you said something about if you're not able to pay for something five times over?
If you can't pay for, so for example, that Louis Vuitton or
you know what,
or whatever, in which we're finding out $30 to make it.
It's $50 to make a Dior bag, but they want to charge you $5,000. Stop. I refuse. So
the example that the investor or the financial guru gave was, if you can't pay for it 5 times right now, meaning if that Louis
and cash money,
if that purchase, those Jordans, let's just say they're $250. If you can't drop $1,000 for 5 pairs of them, you can't afford those.
Can't afford it.
You got to hold fast.
And
so that's a different perspective. But also, what if we looked at that when it comes to the car? How many people?
A lot of people are going under.
They said
right now
the average car payment is like $750 a month.
I can't fathom that.
But even for us, right?
So expensive.
How many times we see? I mean, especially when we're traveling and other places, we might jump in a beautiful Tesla. We might jump into another car, and it's like, oh, this is nice.
I like the
sunroof
the
all the way back, right?
Sunroof.
Full digital screen.
Ooh.
We get in our car. We still got a CD player in it. We got a CD and VHS. Come on, can put a cassette in there if we need to. Right, though, but the difference, cars 100% paid off.
100% for years.
And no issues. Right, but do you want to I could boss up and grab a brand new.
And one car rather than 2. That works for our situation. I do understand that doesn't work. We work remotely. We work at home. Our car probably at least 40% of the time is in the garage.
For sure.
Right, where we're not putting extra miles on it. We're doing only the things we need to do, knowing that we have our emergency savings to be able to invest into the car if we need to, so that we don't have to go and spend $70,000, $80,000 in a car loan, or just in a car payment, but being able to get a car and having a $500, $600, $700, $800 car payment, you're just underwater. How do you get from underneath that?
But to your point, and that's a great call out of an example of the downsizing or the staying down for the come up, because people will see a lot of people. We
had 2 cars.
Man, we had 2 cars, right? And downsizing to 1 though gave us a lot more. Although it gave us flexibility financially, but we had to be more intentional with our calendaring.
Correct.
Literally.
You're right.
Because it's 1 car. So if you got an appointment, I got an appointment, things on the same day, we literally will put it on put a placeholder on the calendar with the car in the invite. So okay, boom, you're making moves while the other person's working remotely. And I remember I had people they were like, man, Kurt, you're killing it. And sales and these other things, man, you had, this drop, you could have bought,
Yeah,
man, why don't you buy a brand new car?
Yeah, 5 years ago.
5 years, I'm like, buy a brand new car, I could. The whole thing is paying off debt. It's saving money. It's all of the things. But now we see, like, we're seeing those decisions from 5 years ago continue to pay off. But basically, don't despise the humble beginnings. And
100%.
don't be the social media era, all of the hype, don't let it gas you up.
Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe it.
People
Because
will
it's
hype
not
you.
real.
It's not real. People
It's
will
not
hype you
real.
up. Perfect example, the one guy that was doing, oh my gosh, I don't know if it's like Ashton Hall, whatever. He was putting his face into the ice bowl with like the ice challenge when he woke up in the morning.
Yes.
Beautiful condo, multi-million-dollar condo. Like the person that owned the condo, I believe, posted that like either it was behind on payments or things, but it was hype. You're jumping in the G-Wag.
Oh my gosh.
You're doing this
really
viral
doing
sense.
It for the gram.
You're doing it for the gram. Ain't no furniture in there.
Oh,
Like,
no!
it's just, and again, I don't know if all of this is, it's true, but they were just saying like people pulling the receipts
but
on.
But 70%.
70%
so don't doubt
are
that.
living paycheck to paycheck.
And one thing we know about that, quote unquote influencer life, it is not necessarily a steady paycheck. Like, don't get it twisted.
And not only is it not a steady paycheck on the influencer life, it's not a steady paycheck on the athlete life. People don't realize that most professional athletes are getting paid during the season only. So NFL, which is in season right now, like teachers, NFL, you're getting a big check, but you're only getting it over the 18 weeks that you're in season. So you made all that money, but you've been flexing for 365 days out the year. Now you're short. Now you have to play another season, or you have to come. It's almost like a boxer where you see Mike Tyson at 55 or 50 getting back in the ring. People, it's about the money.
100%. I quickly want to go back to the car situation that you were talking about, because just as we were doing our research and we're seeing and just talking to people too, cars right now are such a pain point for most people, let alone couples. One thing that we did when we were younger was we went to a car auction. And we got our car from a car auction. I'll never forget my first car, 1992 Honda Prelude. And don't get me wrong, this was like 2015, but it was a 1992 Honda Prelude. Come on now. And paid for in cash though. I think it was
Honda.
It was like $2,000. Paid for, everything was fine with it. We had a mechanic come and check it out to make sure everything was cool, because you don't want to obviously be in a lemon situation. But then knowing and understanding that if ownership and knowing and understanding the difference between renting, and I'm not talking about house, but just renting, and then the having the ownership mindset. Yeah. Do you own your car? Do you own do you own stocks, right? Do you own things? That's more so where you want to come from on the mindset standpoint. Because if you are constantly in a renter's mindset or a what's it called now? Klarna and the one pay, that's really getting people into some serious problems with, okay, this is $200. I'm going to put it on a payment plan. The payment plan, they said, is one of the worst things that you can be on right now, because it's a payment plan for everything. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. We know and understand the climate right now, and that if you don't have it and you have to go on a payment plan, it is what it is. But if you there's people who have the money in their bank account, but just choose to do a payment plan because it's like, $40 a month sounds better than taking this full $200. Knowing and understanding that it's actually going to be more beneficial to just pay that $200 now, because it's ownership, right? Like, think about it. I bought something and now I own it. That's more so the mindset that we want people to come from.
And sometimes people will say that a car is a depreciating asset and you shouldn't buy it, you should lease it. That is true. Mm-hmm. And so, but I think the point that you're making is going to the auction or finding a car on a deal, even getting something older, you're now able to have payments that you can afford. Because if you're leasing a car versus buying it or going a route where you have payments that you can't really afford, a lot of it's in the root from, you may go into the dealership thinking you want a Benz, but you might really need a Subaru. You might need something that's totally different than what your aspirations are, because what you saw on the gram.
Correct.
And that's okay. I just think level setting and looking at what you can afford and having those honest conversations, because if your vision board has a Maserati on it, but right now we need a Mazda, we got to humble ourselves.
But it's interesting because as I'm looking at my notes, it's also saying why couples are avoiding having the money talks. Yeah. And if you want to give a little bit of insight on, why, I'm just trying to think back even to when we started first having our money talks. And, you know, we've mentioned this before in some of our previous episodes where you didn't have any student loan debt coming out of
Zero.
college,
That was
which
a blessing.
was a blessing, absolutely incredible. That's not the case for most people. So although I worked through college and paid off most of my schooling, I mean, school is post-secondary education is so expensive, even for in-state tuition, that if you are not able to get grants or financial aid or those things, you're getting loans. You're getting the Stafford loans, you're getting the unsubsidized loans, and that interest is just compounding over time. And that's really just, as I was listening to Dave Ramsey, he was mentioning that it's car payments right now for most people that they're in debt, their homes, obviously, and then student loans. I mean, those are really the top three, not including kids.
Not including credit card debt.
We're hearing now, not including credit card, you're right, not
No
including
credit card debt.
So just imagine if you, the listener, are saying, oh my gosh, okay, at my house, and even if, let's take your house out, your credit card debt, your car debt, your student loans, and then if you have kids, ooh, child. I mean,
and then we factor in AI, automation, robotics, the fact that they're literally flooding the warehouses in different industries where they're saying, oh no, we can automate that. We don't actually need anybody to work in that warehouse or driving that car because it's autonomous. So now those bills and those things are increasing, but yet people aren't having more income, which is a part of that challenge. So it's just such a great call, and I'm glad that we're sharing our experience of even 5 years, 6, 7, 8 years ago, making sacrifices that are paying off now.
Yes.
But when we look back, I'm so glad that we did, because you always can elevate.
Yes.
You can always elevate. It's like going to a movie, right? You can always go to the movie and start with a small popcorn. You can always go up to a large, right, or a jumbo. But if you start with a jumbo, it's a lot different trying to go down to a small popcorn or go down to a, no candy, or, and I'm trying to make it a simple example, but sometimes it's literally those little decisions of like, we're going to go to the movie, but we're going to the matinee versus the regular showing. We're going to, I don't want to say bring your own snacks, but maybe we get one snack there and we share one popcorn that's a medium versus like we go above and beyond on things so that you can save and put yourself in that situation. But it is sacrifices. But if you're not having the conversation with your partner, and I think that was a big thing for us, you were transparent about, hey, I do have student loans. You were transparent. I even remember like, hey, you were working on different things early on when we were dating that I could really appreciate, because I just appreciate the fact that you shared it with me and we talked about it. Like, all right, this is something that's on the list that needs to be taken care of too.
Correct. Well, it's interesting because as I was listening to Dave Ramsey, this was on his YouTube channel. There's somebody that goes out into the city of Nashville and just walks up to people and says, how much debt do you have? And it was interesting to hear that how many couples didn't realize how much debt the other person had. And
separate accounts, maybe.
Separate accounts. I'll never forget, one gentleman said he's standing there with his new wife. He said he lost his most money in a divorce, millions of dollars in his first divorce. And now he has a separate account that his wife didn't know about, where he is hundreds of thousands of dollars in gambling debt. The look she gave him was
shock and awe.
Shock, awe, anger, all the emotions were on her face. And so that was actually one of the questions was, do you, have you ever hidden a purchase from your partner, even something small?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah. I've definitely hidden. I just hid some purchase from you recently.
Yes, but you're talking exactly. You're talking.
I was a little trick on him right there. But so sometimes it's those little things where it's his birthday, things like that. I don't have the need to like I'm hiding purchases or things like that.
Right.
Nah.
Right.
If anything, it's a surprise. Like you can't know about this because it's on the way.
But here's the other thing. Even if we have a joint account,
you know what?
Sometimes you have separate cards, credit cards. So you can still be having charges on your credit card that your spouse doesn't know about. And so is that something that should be talked about as well?
So yes, it is. And I have another example. Actually, I'm trying to look at the wood in my own eye. An example of something that I don't always share about. And I can be definitely a giver and want to help just people that have come across my path or that have helped me.
Yes.
And sometimes that can be to a fault. Mm-hmm. So I've had some people, and I'm not going to say no names, but I know you already know that have hit me like, hey man, I'm down bad. I'm in a tough spot. Or can you shoot me, just whatever to hold me over until X, Y, and Z. And I'll be like, yeah, bro, like let me help you out. If I have it, like, and let me shoot that over to you.
Right.
But
And you're also
typically,
not expecting it back.
exactly, not
But
expecting
you need
it
to
back.
be a person of your word.
Correct.
Okay.
But also
integrity.
But also this is
Run that money back.
an example that's not often talked about when it comes to marriages. That's a 1-to-1. They came to me. They didn't come to us.
That's true.
We share our finances and our accounts. So that's an example of, I will say yes, shoot that over, but I also feel like it's under a certain amount. We're talking about 50, 25. Like, we're not talking about hundreds or thousands of dollars. I feel like there is a threshold where there has to be a conversation. So if I shoot somebody 25 or 50 bucks, like, I don't feel like that's something where it's like, and we have that understanding, just like you. If you take your mentee out and you're like, hey, we went out to lunch, like, that's not something you have to reach out and be like, hey, babe, I'm going out to lunch. It's going to be 50 bucks. But if you're going out and her grandma need help and it's $500, we gotta have that's a conversation.
And and to your point, I believe that is something that needs to be talked about within couples. Is what is that threshold that we need to? What's our cap?
What's our cap?
What's our cap?
It has to be discussed.
What's our cap to where it's a discussion?
It's a discussion.
If you're purchasing anything over $100, it's a discussion.
Or if it's multiple things that are $100, right? So if our cap is 500 or 1,000, don't feel like, well, it's 100. But I worked around the system because I got 5 things that are $100 each.
Right. But just more so, right, again, having that transparent conversation about that. But to your point of what you were mentioning with giving, we're givers. Like you said, naturally, if we have the money, we'll give it to somebody. However, for me, it's the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time that you're asking, that it then becomes, okay, listen,
it's out of hand.
I'm not your money bank. I'm here to help you, but I'm not here to supplement something.
I'm not here to sponsor you.
I'm not here to sponsor you.
I'm not tricking on you.
I'm not tricking
to
on
that point,
you.
I had a family member tell me, well, you're going to be coming down, bring a lot of money with you.
Bring a lot of money with you. For who?
What? For what?
For who?
What are you even talking about?
We know what we're bringing for us.
But it was that mindset of like, oh no, I want you to literally take care of me on this experience or whatever. And sometimes you do have to tell family, can't do it.
Yes.
I love you, but I can't fund you.
Absolutely. So I have just a couple more questions and then we're going to close out.
I'm ready.
So who should pay for date night? Does it depend?
Yeah. So I would say, first off, you should go to date night. That's number 1.
Period.
Number 2, date night doesn't have to be expensive. This can be discussed beforehand.
Date night can be free.
It can be free, or it can be like, there's so many. And one thing that we always used to do, I just want to shout this out, is that like we literally would find not only the deals, but we've been on free date nights. We go think the 2 for 1, or they got like
we sign up for all the birthday rewards. And my birthday was just last week, and so I have a month to use all of my free birthday rewards. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
So that's just a perfect. Just a
excited.
perfect example. It's a birthday, and now you sign up for the rewards, and now you're able to go get that free appetizer or that free dessert or that whatever, and that could be a part of date night if money is a part of the challenge. But I think you absolutely just have to plan it out, put it on the calendar, and then for us, it really doesn't matter who's. And this is just another dynamic too, just for us that's unique. It doesn't matter whose card is paying, is coming out of the same pot. So whether it's out of your wallet, my wallet, it links back to the same bank basically. But interesting enough, like even if it's my wallet is in your purse or you have my wallet, you would pass me that card to pay, because traditionally it's like that's kind of like the norm for the most part.
Right, exactly. So you're saying that even if it's my card, again, it's coming from the same account, but I do typically pass it to you so that you can pay, no matter whose name is on the card.
And that's a little bit more traditional than maybe some people, but it's like, that's just our norm.
Yeah. And I wanted to do an episode 2 on traditional and modern roles for husband and wives in
because women are
marriage,
graduating
and
at higher rates.
Feminine energy and masculine energy, and how you have to be able. I think the new norm is being able to be fluid in both. What?
No, I was just thinking about how to, dudes with their nails painted, wearing dresses. It's just getting real. I understand,
but
real fluid.
But again, right, being fluid in both,
you're right.
But where to be fluid is more so where we need to talk about. And then pay for date night. Something else too. Every once in a while, I'll just surprise you and say, "Babe, I want to take you out on a date night," and you get so excited. So that's something else too, where yes, it's coming out of the same account,
but it's also the planning, the thought, right? Some of those things where it's like, I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. When you feel comfortable letting letting your partner fully manage, or would you feel comfortable letting your partner fully manage the money?
Yeah.
In our situation, yes.
You were the treasurer in your high school, so you're locked in when it comes to the dollars and the cents.
Yes.
Which I can appreciate. Excel spreadsheets.
What about
jumping.
people who are one person's a saver, one person's a spender?
So I would say without
and again, have no idea what the finances are. That's
without a doubt, the saver or the person that has the most organization, saver, that person should ideally be in charge of the finances. Because naturally, if you think about it, if you're the spender, man, the focus is on spending. So if you can be saving and be, again, you can always, it's like kind of coaching, right? You can always be more strict and then like loosen up, and now it's a little bit more lax with your team or your players. Same thing in a relationship. Like you can start off more strict with the finances and loosen up and start spending more and be more gradual. But if you're the saver, I would recommend that. I think that's worked well for our relationship, and it wasn't always that way. There were times where it was just like, man, I could do my thing and spend, and my mindset was like, shoot, I could spend, I'm gonna make it right back. But that's not always the best approach when it comes to long-term saving and strategy.
Yes. My opinion on that would be that if one person is fully managing the money, there needs to be transparent conversations about money.
Everybody's got to know where we're at.
Everyone has to know where we're at. Are we doing weekly check-ins, monthly check-ins, quarterly check-ins? What does that look like that's best for you? And making sure that you're talking about if bills are going up, going down, where can we cut? A lot of subscriptions, y'all. We need to be looking at our subscriptions often to make sure that we're not. And the subscriptions
are so tricky. You get rid of cable, and now you got the same cable bill with all of the streaming platforms.
100%.
It's like, dang, y'all, I got Paramount, ESPN, YouTube TV, everything.
Absolutely. If one person carries emotional or household labor, should that count as income value in the relationship?
Yes, that's income value.
Absolutely.
No question.
No
Perfect
question.
example is childcare. If your partner, if childcare is $2,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a month,
depending on how many kids you have.
Your part, we just talked to somebody
and age.
Brother, that's a registered dietitian and things. Was talking about his wife and basically said they had a baby. It just didn't work with schedules. It just made more sense for her to stay home for now because of the commute. And
go from a 2-income household
to a 1 income. But a part of it is that additional, whether income or savings, it should count because you're taking $30,000 or $40,000 a year in childcare off the table as far as cost. So to me, that's impactful. And if you're also cleaning and doing those other things, you working 2-3 jobs.
Come on now, women
you
are
washing and drying.
You're washing, you're drying, you're let's also not forget about just running the household, making sure we have groceries, making sure that we have laundry detergent to do the laundry. All of those have to be added into the income value as well. And
I always hear that when the husband or the partner that's working comes home and has those full duties and responsibilities, even if it's for a couple days or a day, they are looking like, I'd rather be at work. This is crazy.
This is too much.
You telling me you getting all these kids ready, you're getting the meals ready.
Yes.
They forgetting stuff. It is like, what?
Yes.
And I just head to work and go and come back home at 5-6 o'clock. And don't get me wrong, you had to deal with work and those things, but it's just perspective of putting yourself in another person's shoes.
The other thing too that we're assuming is that when we're talking about household labor, that the person, yes, you're whether your kids are at home, you're maybe homeschooling them, or they are going to school, what are you as a spouse doing when you're at home? And I've heard, there's also we're thinking that you're working, but that's not always the case. And so that's when I think the bigger issue comes into play is, okay, what is the income that you
you saying if someone's basically kids went to school at 8, you've been watching, Real Housewives.
I'm kicking it.
Real Housewives been on from 9.
Dishes aren't going to be done. I'm not going to cook anything.
Get home at 5 and you're like, what's...
Correct. And I feel like that's where there is a disproportionate idea of labor.
Yeah.
Because
that's the idea of like, well, you had to stay home and you're just chilling.
Right.
And it's like, that's not the case.
That's not the case. The other thing that I was going to say to that too was when it comes to emotional, because it also says emotional labor, right? So let's say there is somebody that is stay at home and the other person is coming in and you can vent to me and I'll have whatever, all your emotional needs are met. Does that also count as income value in a relationship?
Sound like they're your therapist.
So if that's the case, therapists, depending on who it is, make
might
at
be
least
$100 maybe $100 an hour.
At least $50K a year.
That, or also another aspect, especially as we get older, is the person that's staying home also taking care of your parent or your grandparent.
That's right, caregivers. 100%.
So it's the emotional, and I'm literally taking care of somebody here at the house while you're gone.
Yes.
That may be your mom or grandma
Yes.
or whomever, which is a whole nother element that a lot of times does not get talked about, but that's a whole nother weight that you're carrying.
Correct. I'm going to quickly add to that, and then we're going to have maybe one or two more questions. So quickly adding to that is, if your partner doesn't feel as if your household or emotional labor is income value, what I would suggest is writing out everything that you're doing for the day.
Give them a breakdown.
I'm going to break you down by
three squares a day,
by telling
at
you
$10 a meal.
Come on now.
Chores at
talk
laundry.
About everything that you have done for that day. Then I would go and look up on Indeed.
Throw it on AI.
Yes, but look on Indeed, right, and see. Okay, well, I'm a maid.
I'm an assistant.
I'm an assistant. I am a childcare, right? And what does that equal to in dollars? Because then that's going to be, it almost becomes undeniable. And if your partner wasn't respecting you before, because we do run into that as well, just talking about some at home, talking to some moms that do stay at home. And again, we're living in an age now.
It could be the husband staying at home.
That's what I'm saying. Now,
Mr. Second Lady.
Yes.
Second husband.
Yeah, I'm a diplomat. We're watching The Diplomat right now. But I think that's something else too that needs to, if respect is something that's an issue right now in your relationship, and you feel like that the dynamics are not being equally valued, that's a way that you can at least start showing what you're doing every day, so that your partner can see, whoa, I didn't know that this was all getting done. Because this is also going to be going into women specifically of invisible labor, where you're not seeing the planning, you're not seeing the prepping and making sure that I know everyone's social security numbers, I know everyone's birthdays, anniversaries, I'm getting the birthday parties, all of that. Typically men aren't really worried about that. Yeah. You got it. You can do that. So women, that, right. So that's just something else I wanted to add to there. Now, let's see. What are some red flags that your financial dynamic is becoming unhealthy?
Red flags are you're arguing about finances. Mm-hmm. Someone feels like there's not the transparency. I don't even know where the money's going, or that we're behind on bills, or that we have extra income. Like, that would be a red flag, right? I think also if you're doing things and it's use your money. Mm-hmm. Or I may use my money. You're already talking to yourself singularly, individual. Correct. Which it's hard to then come back together as a unit and think about how we're planning for our future. So I think those types of things are red flags. Or another one is red flags if you feel like you're doing all of these things, this list at home, or all of these items, and you feel like it's being unnoticed or underappreciated. You've got to be able to break down that list. Or let's switch roles. Let me have you take care of the kids for a day, and I'm going to take, I'll take the day and do something else, and just let that be a glimpse into what the day in the life is like. Yes.
I would say another couple of red flags that your financial dynamic is becoming unhealthy is if you are overspending, you don't have a budget, you're not sticking to the budget, you are hiding purchases.
And we've heard people say, I'm making the most money. People will say, man,
I'm making the most money ever, but I'm in the most debt ever.
Because again, it's about the spending.
Correct.
And that rat race of I'm making more, but now I'm going to get a new car. I'm going to get the new house. I'm going to get the new phone. I'm going to get the new this. And now, again, all of those bills, you're falling into that cycle of being a consumer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, right. A consumer, which means I'm consuming rather than owning and having that ownership mindset. You want to be able to own as much as you can. And I know even for us, one of our next investments that we're looking into and we're talking as a family unit about is purchasing some land, or purchasing a home or something of that nature, so that we can continue to build that generational wealth while also building generational health, right? That's a part of what we want to do too. So let's see. What's one small financial habit you could change this week together?
One financial habit you can change this week together is having a financial meeting, like a quick financial meeting. It doesn't have to be super long. It could be 15 minutes, 20 minutes of, hey, where are we? Mm-hmm. Do we have the money to cover the bills? And or if we don't know, like, do we know what all of our bills are? Like, is it listed
No, I think
somewhere?
that's number one.
Do we know what everything is? Like, do we have it
That's
listed?
typically where you need to start. Basics.
And that's what I would say is just the basics and having the conversation, and even if it's uncomfortable. Because I remember, I mean, there was times when, again, when you have the money, it's less uncomfortable.
Right.
When you don't have it, it is more uncomfortable.
And not only that, but it's more of an elephant in the room. The elephant's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And it's easier to not talk about it.
It's easier to not talk about it. Because, again, I don't want this to turn into an argument. I don't want this to turn into a big blow up.
Or I don't want it to turn into where reality is now a reality versus it's in my head versus it's a reality because I spoke on where the current status is, where we are, what we can afford, and the changes we have to make, and not worrying about trying to keep up with everybody else.
Yes. No, I absolutely agree with that. So to your point, you're basically saying go back to basics, right?
Yes.
Listing out all of your bills. Then from there, seeing where you can cut.
Yes.
What's a need, what's a want. Then also from there, having it too in a place where both of you can have access to it. And then as either somebody is spending or somebody is saving, you're updating that sheet as you go. And then I would say that the last piece for me, and I know I said only one, but I just feel like this is really important, is when you come into a money talk with your partner, come from the place of what do you want the solution to be? I want the solution to be that we are going to come out of this with a game plan. We're going to try to stick to this budget, even if it's first start with 3 months, right? Let's start with 3 months of just sticking to this budget and watch how your finances change. Watch how all of a sudden we actually have a little bit more money maybe than I thought. Or now I'm able to allocate a little bit more to the mortgage so we can pay it down faster, right? Or a credit card so we can pay them down faster and not have to worry about the interest. And coming from a place of starting your conversation with the solution that I want from this conversation is going to be this, and these are the ways that we're going to get there. And if this feels like it's too overwhelming, let me know so we can take a break. We have to come back to it, but we can take a 5-10 minute break, get some water, go for a quick walk, something of that nature, because it's a critical conversation that needs to happen, but it's not the easiest. Nobody wants disagreements or arguments. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. More than likely it is. But again, it's a muscle that has to be built up, that you have to constantly be working on it together to be able to get to a point where, okay, I'm usually an impulsive buyer, and now TikTok Shop, you're not going to get me. You are not going to get me TikTok Shop. I'm going to use that money now that I was going to potentially save, and I'm going to add that onto my credit card, right? And just start thinking, reframing that mindset.
Yes. And this episode is being brought to you by Backlot Studios, the home of the best podcast in Arizona. So shout out to Backlot Studios, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, CoupleyFit fam. If you are following us on social media, it's at CoupleyFit, CoupleyFit. Please DM us and let us know what you want to hear. If you are seeing us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate all of your support. It means so much to us. As always, keep growing, glowing, and feeling better together. Bye.